So, what got you wanting to play the game, man? Like, what was the moment where you said, "Man, I want to do this professionally"?
Um, it was one of those things like just being in that small town. Football was everything. So I got a older brother. I grew up in the house with. He's 6 years older than me, and he played ball, and my high school is very well known in that area. Anywhere Tallahassee and those surrounding areas. Our football team is very well known for being this small town, but they can play some football because that's pretty much all we had. We had football, we had basketball, we had baseball. That was it. But everybody gravitated to football, and just seeing one, when I was 11, I think is when I first started playing tackle football, and my brother was in high school, and they ended up, my brother and them ended up winning a state championship at my high school, and that motivated me like crazy. I mean, the how much the area had, how excited they were for my brother and that team. And I mean, still to this day, they still get love there because it's tight knit. Like every Friday, whole town shut down to go to the football games. It's like that where it's you better get your food, you better get your meals and everything before that 7:30 hit, cause it's gonna be, what I'm saying, business is really like shut down to go to the games on Friday night. And that was something that I wanted to be a part of. And when I first started playing tackle ball, I'm not even gonna lie, I was scared out of my mind. Like I always did sandlot ball, whatever, playing in the grass, playing on the streets. For some reason in my head, playing with equipment on would have made me, I thought that it would hurt worse. So I didn't like getting hit as it is, but I was I'm talking about scared to play ball. I still remember like my first practice. I got the ball every time and ran straight to the sideline. Just straight tried to outrun everybody. And cause I'm telling you, I wasn't about like getting hit, but I knew I wanted to play ball, but I just wanted to outrun everybody. Like that was my thing. I want to play, but I don't want to get hit. I'm outrun everybody. And it was I that first year of playing ball, we lost every single game, and that was just another added motivation for me because I hated losing, and that was video games, whatever the case may be. Like I hated losing. We lost every single game, and I was a crybaby too, so I cried every game that we lost. But I said, I was like, this not gonna happen next year. And the next year I was in seventh grade and I ended up like transferring to a school. I went to school in Tallahassee. I still stayed in my hometown, but I ended up going to school in Tallahassee. Just a decision my parents made or whatever for me. And all my friends, most of my friends ended up playing school ball, and I was kind of left playing youth ball by myself for the most part. And that second year of playing ball, we went undefeated. I got no lie, I got tackled one time all year. Yep, actually twice all year by the same guy. One time in the regular season, one time in the championship game. Other than that, I'm talking about clean. I was clean after every game, but um, I was just, I was so motivated at, I mean, I guess what, 12 years old that I'm not losing. We're not losing a game. and I'm gonna do everything I possibly have to do to win. And, and that was, I mean, that was it. And from there, my desire for the game and my love for the game just grew more and more. And I started to realize, like, if I put the work in, if I truly dedicate myself to this, I will have a chance at being something, doing something with it.
Okay. So after that season in Pop Warner, or whatever it's called, what was it? Pop Warner?
Pop
PA?
Warner,
It was Pop
yeah.
Warner. Okay. So after that season in Pop Warner, was that when you knew like, okay, I'm a little better than everybody else. I got a gift.
Yeah, that was the first time I really had a feeling that, you know, I could really do this. And you know, it was one of those things where it kind of, at my school that I was going to as well, like it kind of carried on for me confidence wise. It helped as well, because there were a lot, like I was going to that school, like being in Tallahassee, a little bigger city or whatever, and you know, I got to see a lot of different kids. A lot of boys were bigger than me. For the most part, most of my friends were bigger than me. Like my best friend at that time, he was 6'1", I think, in 7th grade. Like ridiculous. Like he was huge. And like seeing those boys, they all played ball in their Pop Warner teams too. And one thing about that school I was going to, I actually, after Pop Warner was up, I was trying to wanting to like try out on their football team or whatever, and they rejected me, and I was just like, what? Like, why? And but they had never like seen me play ball. They had never seen me, because there were no sports. I had just got there, and you know, there were no sports or whatever. Like football was the first thing that came up. Then it was basketball. Then it was track. So they had never seen me play or whatever. And like I said, I was small. So they were like, they kind of looked at me and was like, nah, you gotta wait till you get in high school or whatever. But I didn't know. I thought they had a middle school team because it was a pretty big school. And but I had known that it was a kid he was playing on JV as a 6th grader. So I'm like, if he did it as a 6th grader, I can play as a 7th grader. Like I know I can. But they were like, nah, we can't let you play. So I was mad. I was upset about that. But I was like, I know it was really a shot to my confidence. And thinking back then, like they had never seen me play anyways. But I ain't know that. You know, like I'm just like, nah, I'm good enough. I know I can play. I just went through this whole season. You know what I'm saying? I got tackled twice in a 7-game, 8-game season or whatever. Like I can play. I promise you I can play with whoever. And they were like, nah. So went through my 7th grade year there, and my hometown middle school head coach called my parents and was like, well, what is Chris doing over at his school? My parents was like, well, they didn't let him play football this year or whatever. And the coach was like, bring Chris back home. And I promise you, he will be our starting running back as an 8th grader on the middle school team or whatever. And my parents were like, well, Chris, they want you to come back home and play at home. And what do you think? And I was just like, I don't want to leave. And I broke down crying because I'm like, I had built so many relationships in Tallahassee, and I enjoyed like being there, although they wasn't letting me play ball. And I still had my friends back home. That's what school is all about. You know what I'm saying? Getting the education, being with your friends or whatever. I'm getting my education. I'm with these new friends. And when I come home, I still got my friends that I've had since I was 6 years old. So I'm getting the best of both worlds or whatever, and they were like, we gotta make a decision. Um, and I didn't know at the time it was a private school I was going to in Tallahassee, and they were only paying for that. The school was only paying for that year. After that, my parents would have to pay. They couldn't pay. Didn't know that until later on, and came back home, went to school in my hometown, and I'm talking about confidence went from here to here, all over again, and offense, everything. We ran like a wing T offense or whatever, but it kind of the offense kind of ran through me, and then and everything. But yeah, that was pretty much it with that. And that year, my 8th grade year, coming back home, I played basketball, baseball, football, and I still was running track in Tallahassee with an AAU team, but we lost one game in all 3 sports. And it was just, and that, I ain't even gonna, that was not all me. We had some phenomenal athletes that which I didn't realize until I got back home. That was what I was missing having in Tallahassee, where these guys here, we small town, all grew up together, been playing sports together for years or whatever. A lot of us ain't, I mean, for the most part, most of us didn't have much. We got by, but then being at the private school, that was a whole different life. That was a whole different experience. I'm going to some of my classmates' houses. I'm like, this is what y'all live in? Like, it was a whole different, a different way of life that I got to see, which was also like, I wanted to have that. I was seeing that, at 12. I'm like, I want to have that. I want my parents to have that. Like, I want something like this, and not, how we grew up or whatever. I want better for myself. And yeah, that was, I'm talking about motivation, all the motivation I needed.